So today I'm going to be discussing how technology can be used in the classroom to help teachers accomplish various tasks. The first thing we're going to be discussing is how technology can be used to teach content. Now, in the classroom, there are various things that you can use to uh, get content across to your students. One of my favorite things to use is a document camera. And a document camera allows you to project whatever it is that you are doing in real time up onto a smartboard or a whiteboard or something. And I think it's really good and useful because it gives both a visual and a verbal stimulation at the same time. So as you're explaining, for example, how to fill out a worksheet or cut up pieces of paper and paste them together, you can show your students on the screen what you're doing with your hands as you explain it to them verbally, so they're getting that dual stimulation. Another really great tool to use to get content across to your students is PowerPoint. And PowerPoint allows you to create presentations that have slides. You can embed videos in PowerPoint. You can put little quizzes in PowerPoint. There is really an unlimited amount of things that you can do with PowerPoint. And PowerPoint's really great because you can also post your PowerPoints online so that your students can go back and look at them, later on when they're doing homework or later on in the lesson after you're done presenting. Another presentation tool similar to PowerPoint but a little bit more complicated is Prezi. And Prezi is really useful for older classrooms where students might get bored looking at a PowerPoint, or a PowerPoint might seem too simple. And Prezi is a really great tool because it allows you to create more storyboard-like animations. So for an example, like in a lesson where you're teaching like sequential activities, it allows you to move through them in a more fluid way instead of the common slide sequence. The next teacher task that we're going to conquer is going to be how you can allow your students to both practice and process the content that you teach them. Now, online games are really great because you can introduce them in the classroom in a safe environment, and then you can scaffold with the students so that they're eventually able to work on these online games at home and on their own so that they can sort of bring the information that they learn in the classroom home with them and practice it in a more fun way. One of my favorite online game sites is Starfall, and Starfall is an interactive site that provides children with both games and materials that lets them practice their reading and their phonics. It has a lot of activities that can walk the children through different levels of reading, anywhere from beginning to advanced, and it's really good for English language learners because it provides the opportunity for them to read at their own pace and then also have visual and auditory stimulation at the same time, which is something that I think is super important, not only for English language learners, but also for beginners and advanced, because both hearing and seeing a word at the same time is kind of giving you that, double stimulation. You can really find like tons of online game sites if you just Google online games for kids, and you kind of have to choose, maybe like one or two websites that you really want to focus on, because once the kids get acclimated to one website that you find that's safe, then you want to make sure that you aren't, switching it up on them or something. And you also want to give them time to explore all of the possibilities that that website may have. The next skill that we're going to tackle is how to assess student content competency. Now, one of the greatest websites that I've found is called Teachers Pay Teachers, and it's a website where teachers can post, lesson plans, worksheets, activities, anything that they've created, and they can post it for sale or for free. And it's a really great place where you can find, if you just need like a worksheet on a certain topic and you don't have time to make it yourself, you can buy them online, or you can buy a worksheet or like a whole activity set. And I think it's really great because it has a lot of assessments on there, and it's really important to have varied assessment types for your students, and you might not always have time to think up your own worksheets, but this website allows you to just print them straight off after you buy them, and then you can give them to your students. Another way that you can assess your students is by using the online games that they can use to practice the content. You can have them create accounts and then log into them, and then it can record their scores, so that at the end of the day, if you have each of your students complete, say, 20 minutes on the site, you can go back and you can look at all of their scores and see how they're doing. And then it also creates a sort of timeline so that you can see, oh, over the past few months, my students' scores have been increasing. And then it also allows you to see, oh, is my students logging in at home to work on these? And, you can assign like a certain amount of time that they have to log in at home as homework. And then you can also assess, how they're doing at home versus in the classroom. And then you can kind of figure out where to go from there. The next task that we're going to be tackling is how to communicate with students, parents, teachers, administration within the school, and like your general community. And one of the most important things that I think that you need to create before your students even enter your classroom is a class website. And a class website is really important because, it not only allows your students to access it after school, it also allows parents to stay updated on what's happening in the classroom. And then you can also share it with other teachers if your website has like fun activities on it or homework, or if other teachers just want to see what you're doing in the classroom. One of the most important things to put on your class website is going to be the syllabus. And a syllabus is really important to have on there because it allows you to make sure that you're staying on track, and also to keep parents updated on, what you're doing that week, or what you can be expecting from your students and your parents. Because, there is a gray area there, and you want to make sure that you avoid that so that you don't have to have any discussions with parents about that. Your class website also allows you to basically have like a one-stop shop for all of the communication that goes on between you and parents and students. So another really important thing to have on your class website is all of your contact info, your phone number, if you want to provide that, your email, office hours, and also like announcements. So say you're going to have like a special meeting on Friday for parents where they can just drop in and ask any questions, or if you need to schedule meetings for parent-teacher conferences, you can post those on the class website so that everything is in one place and has easy access for you and the teachers and the parents. The next task that we need to tackle is how you're going to monitor your student attendance. And one of the best websites that I've found is called myattendancetracker.com. And it allows you to have really not only your attendance information, but all of your really vital and important information that you need to access on a daily basis all in one place. It has an attendance tracker where you can, list all of your students in each of your classes and mark, if they're absent, if they're late, if they're on time. And then it'll show you like your weekly and monthly view, and it'll show you, how many students were there, how many students weren't, and what their track record has been so far. It also allows you to create student profiles for each individual student, and to have a grade book for each student and each class so that you can see the general scheme of how things have been going, and then, put the attendance and the grades side by side and see, maybe their attendance is affecting their grades. Another really great way to keep track of student data is to keep an Excel gradebook. And Excel is really great once you can master the basics of it, because you can have it create averages and analyze the data for you so that you don't have to be going in and punching in numbers and dealing with the raw data yourself. The Excel gradebook allows you to have individual rows for students, and then keep track of each of the assignments in different areas if you want to do classwork, quizzes, tests, homework. And you can also set it to automatically calculate things like a class average, a student average, an average for each assignment, an average for the overall category of assignment, and many other things. Excel also has a tool that allows you to create a graph or a pie chart so that you can see the overall scheme of how your students have been doing. And you can also see like weak links. So you could see that maybe there was one specific assignment where a lot of students did really poorly on, and then you can go back and look and see what that assignment was and evaluate yourself to see what you can do better with that. All right, the last task that we need to tackle is how you're going to report your students' grades to the parents. And this ties in with the Excel gradebook. So one of the great reasons to use Excel is that you can also merge your Excel grades with a Word document in something called Mail Merge. And Mail Merge really allows you to create a letter home to parents or individualized student reports so that you can give each parent a report for their student and also preserve the confidentiality of other students. So what Mail Merge allows you to do is you create basically a template for each of your students, and then you can go in and select the Excel gradebook that you want to merge with your Word document and put in these little placeholders so that it'll automatically fill different values with the value from the Excel gradebook that you tell it to use. So say I wanted to create a letter, halfway through the quarter and just update parents on how their kids have been doing so far so they can see whether or not they need to have a conference with me or if they have any issues with anything. So you could create your whole letter and then make a chart that says, classwork, homework, quiz, tests. And then in each of the cells in that chart, you could, put like a little placeholder. And then once you go through all of them and you hit the merge button, it'll automatically fill each of those cells with the value for that individual student so that you don't have to be going back and forth and putting each of them in yourself. Now, once you've figured out, these basic tasks and how you want to incorporate technology into making these tasks not only easier for you, but easier for your students and your parents, then you can go in and you can do a little bit more digging within each of these tasks and find your own personalized, website or tools that you want to use. You can go and browse different online game websites for math or science or reading, or, you can figure out different presentation tools that you want to use. Like maybe you want to use something like Puppet Pals or Kamatasia or different tools to create like a presentation where you can combine words and sound. Or maybe you want to go and find different websites that allow you to create worksheets so that students can take home an assessment with them or do it over the weekend or work on it over break. Something that I think is really important to remember, not only for you but also for your students, is that the internet is a dangerous place. So before you even step foot into the classroom and start using that computer, I really urge you to research internet safety, copyright laws, and just websites and ways that you can make sure that your students are safe and the information that you put out there on the internet is safe.